very rarely, guys, will you see me play in an alternative tuning. But I think it's something that, especially people in my age group, we tend to forget. There's so many different tunings that we can play in. And these different tunings can, man, some of them are just mean sounding. What this guitar is tuned to right now is drop C, and it is just a mean sounding tuning. Once you get your head around how it is tuned, step down with the E being tuned to C flat, it's quite mean. The only issue, if you watch on the tune, now there is a lot of noise. If you heard that tone, I do not have a dual rectifier. Okay, a dual rectifier amp has a sound, and I've tried to emulate a dual rectifier sound. I'm gonna turn my cheater device on, and you're gonna hear a tremendous amount of noise. My rack system has a noise gate, but we've simplified the stream, and I believe it or not, I'm getting this tone out of this little Yamaha amp, but I'm using something in front of it to give me kind of a dual rectifier sound, and I'm going to turn that on, and you can hear it is a little noisy, but so is a Mesa Boogie dual rectifier. But what I was saying, as far as your tune, everything here works the same. Now I'm riding the A string. Of course, it's not tuned to A. Where you run into a problem is this isn't tuned in a lower step down than your regular tuning. So I love the way the D, of course it's not a D now, I like the way that rings out with that lower C. It is, I'm not going to say it's the meanest tuning, but it's quite mean sounding. I'm going to switch over to the chat and see what you guys think of alternative tunes. It's something I don't do a lot of. When I played in a band, we did do some alternative tunings. I really liked it. But the issue that I always had with alternative tunings, I play a lot of guitars with floating bridges. So if you have a guitar that's set up in 440 standard tune, and you go to this tuning, the tremolo is going to be completely out of whack. So today I decided to take Linnell's guitar, and it is a fixed bass bridge. So a guitar like this, you can switch over the tuning on it pretty quick, and you can get those heavy drive tones. I could very easily tune this guitar right back up to 35, 40, 440 standard tune, and not really have an issue. If you have a guitar with a tremolo or a Kaler or a Goth or an Edge, it's going to be a little bit more difficult because there's not as much string pressure, so the tremolo is going to want to rise out of the back of the guitar. So you're going to have to take the time, adjust the spring settings. You're probably looking, if you're really good, you could probably do it in 30 minutes and get the guitar restabilized. I've heard people say it's taken them an hour. And then when you go to switch back, of course, now you've got more time tuning. So when we did it on stage, I always had a guitar that was already set up to do that kind of stuff. You'll hear Zach Wild does a lot of alternative tunings. That's how he's getting that punch. I know a lot of people play his stuff in standard tune, but he is definitely using drop tunings in several of his songs. It's got a cool sound. I don't know what you guys think about it. I'm going to turn these, take the headphones off. I do want to go over one thing, guys, and it's pretty funny. The other night, I made a mention of Jackson and how Jackson has started producing some of their neck-through guitars now. There's been two other videos about this. I think it's KDH did a video on it, and he has a point of view on it. And I was watching, I forgot last night, so I actually watched Philip today. And Philip McKnight had a point of view on it. I think I love Philip to death, and I love the other guy to death too. I think both of them are missing something on what Jackson is doing. First, I want to qualify what I'm saying. I think it's still a neck through. It is a neck through design. Is it cheaper? It depends on what they're paying their line workers to glue up the pieces. Okay. Now you've got 3 pieces of wood making the neck through. It's not a solid piece of wood, so now you have to glue it together, clamp it, scrape it. You know, is that one piece of wood? If you have a one-piece neck, which most people doing neck through guitars, it's not one piece. It's usually multiple pieces. So that one piece will cost more. It's a solid piece of wood, very thick. You got to do the, you've got to have enough meat to get this angle, and also have the thickness of the body. Okay, so you got to find a really premium piece of wood. That piece of wood is going to be more expensive than a piece of wood quarter sawn that you can flip this way and do laminates this way. Okay. What Jackson is doing, they're not laminating this way. They're not running cords up. So Jackson is doing a shiplap. Okay. Then they're still using this thin piece of wood. When he gets down here, they're laminating another piece of 3/4. It's probably 7/8, or it's most likely a 4/4 or 5/4 rough sawn. They're gluing that together, and there's a seam right here. Okay, and you can see it in the carve. All right, so there's a piece here that's going through the body that's attached to the neck, and then the neck, then the piece on the headstock. It's still neck through, but this is how I want to qualify it. It takes more time to do the glue up. Wood, this is called flat sawn. Flat sawn material is strong this direction. Okay? In other words, the neck doesn't want to bend this way or this way. It's stronger in this direction than it is in the direction that it needs to be strong, because the strings are pulling on the neck. The strings want to pull the neck this way. So by taking the board, flat sawn, and rolling it this direction, okay, and then laminating it together, the board is already stronger in that orientation. Now you're going to shape the neck, and that board goes from the neck, down here, let me get it in view. That board goes through the neck and the headstock and all the way through the body. So if you look at a lot of neck throughs, they have multiple stripes. You can see that stripe go all the way through. So even though it's 7 pieces of wood, all 7 pieces of the wood are in the headstock, through the neck, and through the body. So if you're one of the people that think glue prevents resonation or sound transfer, each piece of wood from here is continuous all the way to the butt of the guitar. Okay, so I heard him say, call that a true neck through. Okay, I get that. I can see that point. When you take a neck and you glue a scarf joint here, this piece of wood has nothing to do with this body. It's not connected. Even if you take this piece of wood and you cut your angle cut here, and you take this slab and you flip it over and you put it here, your grain orientation is still backwards. Okay, if you believe in tone wood, I'm not going to get in the argument. I think there's something to it, just like there's something to the 5% gain on a special cap or a different pot or a different pickup. How much does it help? That's up for debate. But if you take that single piece of wood, even though you've cut it, you're going to cut an angle on it. You're going to take that slab now, since it's cut on an angle, flip it over and stick it in this joint and glue it. This piece is not making contact to the body. Does that kind of make sense? Now you're adding another piece of wood down here and gluing it to the slab. It is in contact, so there's a direct transfer. What I'm saying is, when you take this flat sawn and you roll that board this direction and you do 3 pieces, that one board goes all the way from the headstock through the neck and into the body. It's still 3 pieces of wood. The difference is, when you rotate your lamination this direction, all 3 pieces of the wood go from the headstock into the body, and there's a direct transfer. Even though there's 2 glue lines, this piece of wood is directly transferring to the body. The center piece of wood is directly transferring to the body. Let me grab a different guitar. Now, this is more pieces, but this center piece of wood goes through the headstock, down through the neck, all the way through the body. The exact same thing with the Barbinga. Goes all the way through the body, through the neck, into the headstock. That's not what Jackson is doing. Jackson's taking a thinner slab, cutting their angle on it, taking that piece and flipping it over. Now that piece has been glued to this piece, and they're adding another piece of wood to the bottom of the neck and clamping it together. Is it still a neck through? Yeah, this goes through the body. I'm not saying either one of them are wrong. I see both points of view. From a woodworker, I think this is the superior way of doing it. If you believe that a neck through has more sustain and you're worried about the tone wood and transfer of that resonation, this is going to work better, even though like this one has more than 3 pieces. So I don't have a 3-piece neck through guitar here. Jackson's using 3 pieces. Even though it's made from 2 pieces, it's 2 pieces of wood. So this thin piece of wood here, they cut it. They take this piece up here, they flip it over and stick it on upside down and backwards to give the headstock. Okay, so that can be a single piece. Even if they take the end cut of the neck and then take the end cut and reapply it here and glue it, it's still 3 pieces. The difference is now this piece doesn't transfer to the body. Does that kind of make sense, guys? That's my point of view. Is it? I think it's a way of using smaller dimensional material to get a neck through guitar. Glue is very strong. As long as you have enough clamp pressure and the moisture of the wood is proper and you've got enough grit from when it was sawn to finished planed and that's glued together, it's stronger than the wood itself. It really is. A solid glue joint is stronger than just wood fibers. And it stabilizes the wood. Even this piece down here, gluing it, helps stabilize this piece. Okay, the drawback is now your wings are solid. Now here's something I've seen in woodworking. If this piece of wood doesn't have a seam in the center, matching the seam here, you've got two pieces of wood here. There's a seam here that goes through the neck. This wing and this wing does not have a seam and you're gluing it to it. If this piece of wood that they found didn't come from this stock, like let's say an 8-foot board, okay, we cut the board here, we take that piece of wood and we put on the board here and then cut the other one and then flip it over, it's still out of the same length. That's going to be more apt to contract and expand and take moisture the same way because it's the same piece of wood. But that's not what Jackson said they were doing. Jackson said they're picking out pieces that bestly match. So that means they're not orienting their cuts and then manufacturing the neck. So I don't know who's been keeping up with this whole debacle over Jackson's neck through. I just wanted to give you my thoughts on it. It is I'm not going to say it's cheaper because it takes labor to glue that block onto the bottom of the neck and then flip that material over and make that glue joint. Is it better than a 3-piece neck going this way? I don't think so. I think it's a lesser quality, if that makes sense. I don't think a 3-piece neck glued up this way versus glued up the way Jackson's doing, I don't really see them saving a penny. I really don't. Because if you look at the width here, you got to have a board that wide. Okay? So it only needs to be about 7/8 of an inch thick. So either way, whether you cut it and glue it here or roll that material and go this way, look, that's about what this is. About 3/4 of an inch, laminate, about 3/4. So it's about the same dimensional stock, if that makes sense. So I don't think Jackson is doing it to save money. Maybe they think they're saving money, but by the time you figure the labor, the glue, and the time, and the clamps, I don't see them saving any money. You're still gluing it up, whether you're gluing it up this way or this way. It's still a glue up. That's just my opinion. You all can think. Post in the chat what you feel, and if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, it's been a big ruckus this week over this. Well, actually, since Thursday, Wednesday. I think since Thursday it's been chatted about. That's just my take on it as a woodworker and a tech. I think this is the far more superior way of doing it. Is anybody commenting on that, or am I just talking to the screen?
Well, you have one person saying that the sound comes out of your hands anyway, not the wood, especially on electric.
I agree with that. Linnell just said someone posted that the sound comes out of your hands. I 100% agree with that statement, and I never really understood that statement until, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 years ago. I can definitely tell by the way you attack the strings, the way you mute the strings, how aggressive you approach it, really affects the tone of the instrument. What was the saying? Tone is in the fingers? I get that now. I just know where arguments come. That's why I don't want to. If you think, big on tone wood, I can't prove that it doesn't exist, but at the same token, I can't really prove that it does exist. In my little squirrel brain, it seems that a neck through guitar would be more resonant and have more sustain. Is that true? There's guitar builders that say a bolt-on has the most sustain. and they're replicable. You know, people that have pull in the industry, not some guy building guitars down the street. Luthiers that lots of people look up to say a bolt-on is better. I've played bolt-on, neck through, and set neck, and sometimes the guitar has it, sometimes it doesn't. Uh, I think if you take a lot of time and you make sure your neck pocket is right and it's bolted together properly, you know, it's not necessarily the parts, it's how well it's put together and assembled in the production is what gives you sustain. That's why in this channel, a lot of times we take the neck off the guitar. Look at the neck pocket. We've seen so many guitars it looks like they went in there with a chisel and just chiseled out that neck pocket. That's no good. You need a nice flat mating surface for that neck to bolt to. Okay? What one luthier is saying a bolt in is better. Notice when you bolt it on, that's not a glue joint. That's wood on wood. So you don't have a water base or a urethane base or a hide base glue between the connection of the two pieces of wood. Does it make a difference? I can't tell you one way or the other. I know when I play this Schecter, okay, it's my first neck through. It has a lot of resonance against my chest when I'm playing it. I can feel the body of the guitar resonating against my chest. Is it better than some of my other guitars? I don't know. I got a PV Nitro that does the exact same thing. It's a bolt-on neck. And I can feel the guitar, you know, vibrating when it's unplugged and I play it. I can feel it against my body. Hey, is one better than the other? I think it's more about the build quality. I think you can over glue things as well. When you clamp things up and the glue just starts running out, that glue, when it's under clamp pressure, is absorbed into the wood fibers. So that might have something to do with it too. You're changing the characteristics of the wood fiber from the wood going into it. Is there a magic amount of glue? Well, you got to have enough glue for a good bond. But do you have to have so much glue in it when you do the clamp that it absorbs into the wood fiber and changes the characteristics? A 32nd, a 16th. You know, it's not going to absorb into the wood a 16th of an inch. Maybe a 64th or a 32nd, depending on the thickness of the glue. CA glues go into the wood fibers further because it's like water. Tight Bond 2, Elmer's, some of these commercial glues that we used at the plant or still use, they're a little thicker. So you're not. It's not. The wood isn't absorbing in as much. It's not ingrain. It's flat sawn glued together. Now ingrain, of course, absorbs the wood better. So that's why I don't really go too far into it. I'm still on the fence on it. I don't know whether it does or not. I know that I've got guitars made of basswood, and everyone says basswood's. I like the way my PV basswood guitars sound. I like the way my mahogany guitars sound. I don't know what the Schecter's made out of. I don't know. I know some guitars just have a better sound. In my opinion, it's more about the construction of the instrument. That's why we review the guitars the way we do on the channel. I want to look at the step over rates. When I was a young person learning the trade, I remember an old guy coming up to me and I'm sanding with an orbital sander. And he said, "You don't really think that's going to turn out nice as far as stain, do you?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, it's nice and smooth." And he said, "Well, you just hit that with rocks." And I said, "No, I hit it with sandpaper." And he said, "What do you think's on that sandpaper?" And I said, "Well, it's 800 grit." And he goes, "So there's no rocks on your paper?" I said, "Yeah, they're a little tiny." He goes, "So you're rubbing rocks across that wood and you're expecting a good finish." I always laughed at that until I got more experience. If you have a random orbiter, even if you go down to 3,000 grit, it still has a coarse fiber to it. And it's running in a bunch of different directions. Okay? The grain's going this way, but it's a random orbit. It's doing weird things. So when you apply the stain, you may not see it, but it dulls the natural color of the wood. If you look at someone that's doing high-end work, they're not going to hit that piece of wood with a piece of sandpaper. They have a highly precision ground scraper, and they're coming across that wood with a scraper, and they're following that grain. And that does not put those micro scratches in the wood. You can take something sanded to 3000 grit and something that was scraped. When you put a clear coat on them, the one that was scraped is just going to pop. It will. It'll look like that you can put your hand through the finish, and it'll take less coats to get it there. It's going to be more vibrant, and the colors are going to be more alive, if that makes sense, with the scraper versus the sandpaper. If you do not believe me, do it. Go out, start looking at hand scraped high-end stuff versus other stuff. Grab you a nice scraper and just scrape a piece of wood. Get a piece of wood, sand it with some 1200 grit sandpaper, 2000 grit sandpaper, then take the scraper on the other side and hit it with a stain. You're going to instantly see the side that was done with the scraper looks far better than the side done with the sandpaper. So that's why I look at when they go in here and they start hitting it with chisels, and I'm looking at the step overs from the machine doing the pocket. People go, oh, it's such a little amount, it doesn't make a difference. It does make a difference. When that head has run out and that spindle is moving back and forth, when it's making that neck pocket, it's not a completely flat surface. That's why if you see some machines have an automatic tool changer, an ATC, it'll run back across the table to the ATC and it'll pick up a butterfly cutter. And that butterfly cutter has been cut and ground to the exact same size as the neck pocket. And what they're going to try to do, well, it's actually a little smaller. They're going to try to come in, bore across, and then come back. But that step over is going to be very, very small, maybe a 1/16 of an inch. And whatever they're cutting into the body, whether it's the 32nd or the 64th, depending on the spindle rotation and the feed rate, it's going to be optimized not to chip out. The reason they're doing that is it makes a flat surface. But when I open up a guitar and I see step overs from the routing routine, I know right then they're not going across the table and picking up a butterfly cutter to cut out that. And that joint from the neck hitting that body makes a big difference in that transfer. Does it make any difference in the electronics cavities and stuff? I always look for it. No, I'm looking there because it tells us how good the machine was, how good the programming is when the guitar was made. That's the only reason I'm checking it in those spots. You can learn a lot about your guitar by opening up the electronics cavity, looking underneath the pickups, and looking at how well the routing's done. That stuff usually isn't touched up, and that'll tell you how much time was put on the machine and how accurate your neck pocket might be and some of the other stuff. So that's all I have to say about the Jackson thing. I think there's something to everyone's point of view. That's just kind of my point of view. Whether it's a $200 guitar or a $2,100 guitar, I'm going to look at it and see how well it was crafted. I work hard for my money, and that's what this channel's here to do. I'm not here to bash high-end guitars. I'm not here to bash budget guitars. There's a place for them all, and I think there's good and bad no matter what that price point is. And if you don't believe me, think of it. There's two ways I can use Gibson here. Why do everyone always say, it's a Gibson, you should play it first? Because Gibson is like this, okay? You might play one, it's the best thing since sliced cheese. You might play another one that's not so good. But Gibson also has a name. That's why you'll see a lot of these YouTubers that are doing reviews. They'll use Gibson Fender, as good as a Fender, as good as a Gibson, for a quarter of the price. Is it? I usually say no. It may be 200 versus 2 grand, but the Fender has a proven pickup in it. Whether you like it or not, Fender has toned those pickups, a certain way to work well in the studio, to find that spot in the mix. If you listen to a guitar in the studio and you separate the track, most likely you're going to go, ugh, that guitar sounds awful. Well, the pickups need to be voiced for certain things. So Fender, Gibson, a lot of these companies, they're voicing that pickup for the artist to punch through the mix. So when we're sitting here at home, and I'm bad for it too, I'm like, did I try that pickup in a recording scenario? Did I try it in a band scenario? Can it find its spot in the mix? What does it sound like in the mix? Those, if you're playing in a band, that's the important thing. But if I'm sitting here at home just noodling in my amp, maybe I don't want that pickup to sound that way. I want that full sound. I want a little bit more bottom end. I want that crispness, because that's what I hear. I'm the only person in the room. And I am 100% bad for that. I'll review something and go, but did I try it in a mix? That's something that I always forget. What's it sound like in a mix? That's very important if you're a working musician. If you're home, then don't worry about it. Let your ears tell you what's going on. But when I was playing out making money, by the time I got my amp sounding right in the venue that we were playing, if I took that home and I played it by myself, it was always like, oh my gosh, that sounds awful. What in the world? But it worked that night. And it's not just finding the mix, like with your bass player or the drummer. The venue you're playing has a lot to do with it. Is there a lot of solid, hard surfaces? Because sound bounces off of that. Do they have carpet? Are there drapes behind the stage? Certain things will absorb the sound so it doesn't go back. Is it a block building with a wood, steel frame stage? Stuff's going to be bouncing all over the place. So the venue makes a big difference. Just because you found what sounds good at your practice hall, when you go to that venue and the sound dynamics and the building shape and the surfaces are different, that changes everything. That's where your good sound guy really comes into play. People go, oh, the sound guy, he's not really part of the band. We just got him for tonight. Well, I got news for you. You're not going to sound that good, because that guy you just got for the night, one, he doesn't know your songs. He doesn't know your breaks, your changes. The sound guy is just as much a member of the band as band people. The bass player, the singer. They contribute so much to making sure the guys up there performing sound right. If you sound like poop, even though you know the songs, the people in the bar will be like, that sounds awful. You could have a great on-stage sound and your sound guy mess it up. Or you can have a really crappy sounding amp and your sound guy fixes it. So you got to look at it two ways there. That's how I kind of view sound and playing out in pickups. So when we look at these cheaper guitars and the high-end guitars, keep that in mind too. So that's how, and I'm bad for, and the reason I'm bringing it up is I'm bad for it, and I want 100% honesty here. And every time I do a review, I always miss something. We just did 2 guitar reviews this week. Each review, I missed something in each review. The last review, I tried to go over, intonation and first fretted note. But then I turned around and forgot to give you sizes on the thickness of the neck and the width of the neck. I'm human. And I also went back Thursday night. I just had, and if you played guitar long enough, you'll know what I'm talking about. Thursday night, I just did not have a good playing night. uh, Everything that I tried to do, I was either a little off time, I was out of sequence, and a little out of step the whole night. And hopefully that didn't affect the sound of the guitar too much due to my misplaying. But Thursday night, I don't know if you guys could tell, but I struggled through the whole night just with my cadence, timing, everything. It was just an off playing night for me. It really was. And I think the more you play out in front of people, the more you'll sometimes get that feeling. And the reverse of that, I've went out and played, and at the end of the set, going, "Wow, I played pretty rough tonight." And the guys in the band will come up to you and say, "Man, you did really good tonight." And it's kind of like, so they're hearing something completely opposite of what you're hearing. And again, qualified. Sometimes we are our own worst critic. So if you didn't catch it on Thursday night, I guess the better way of putting it is, I felt like I was struggling all Thursday night to get something from this to my fingers to the guitar to you guys. It just didn't flow, if that makes sense. I was really struggling. All right, well, this is an open Saturday night. This isn't review night. So I'm going to ask Linnell if we're missing anything. And if I lose somebody, I lose somebody. But I am a smoker, and I get it. But this isn't like the standard YouTube channel. We are family here. Look to your right. Most of the people I see chatting, I've seen here before. That's great. I see we got 23 people. You do not have to be a subscriber to chat. I want you to come in. See the people to the right? They're great people. They all play guitar. Join in and chat.
Someone wants to know if you smoke weed.
I did. I don't anymore. My main habit is this. The last time I had a beer with Linnell, and it was more than one. How many did I have, hon?
No, we shared a bootlegger.
Oh, we shared a bootlegger. It wasn't a beer. And at the end of the bootlegger, I was like, so as we used to say, I would be a cheap date. Really. But when I played in bars, I smoked weed, I smoked this, and I drank like a fish out of water. And I've talked about it before on this channel. I woke up one day, I won't go into the Pacifics. I woke up somewhere with a lot of people in a very peculiar situation, and drinking and smoking weed, and Lord only knows what else went on that night. And I woke up that morning and I said, I can't do this anymore. When the band makes $1,200 to $1,400 in a night, and at the end of the night you owe the bar $500, that's bad. And there was many nights we owed the bar money from drinking and partying, and I had to make a decision. It was affecting my full-time job because I was losing time at my one job, and I wasn't making enough money at music and where I was at to play every night. But I want to qualify that. If I played every night, I would have probably already be dead, because there'd be no way that I could do that 5 nights a week, and there would have been no way. So I made this decision, and I quit music. I quit the band, and I focused more on being a professional at work. And in finding a decent person to be with. And, you know, my first go around with that, I failed, but I didn't give up. Uh, uh, we make a lot of failures, and failures are fine. That's how we learn. But don't do the exact same thing and expect a different result. And I mean that as far as music, as far as a relationship. If you're an alcoholic and you're suffering from alcoholism or whatever it is, don't expect to make a change unless you make a change. If you're always doing the exact same thing and you're always, we'll just say women, if you're having problems and you're always going towards the same type of person, maybe you're picking the wrong type person. Does that kind of make sense? So I was shallow minded, just like anyone in their 20s. You're drinking, you're doing this, you're doing that, doing things that I look at back now. I guess I'd be ashamed to say I did, but I did those things.
Nice.
And now I have a wonderful family. And one of the reasons why I don't play music professionally anymore is because I don't drink anymore, but I know that it's a weak spot for me. So, do I want to be around that again? Do I feel that I'm strong enough not to fall down that rabbit hole again? I hope so, but maybe I'm not. I think I'm a much better person today than I was 30 years ago. That's nothing against music. I love music. It was the atmosphere and the allure of, well, we can just say it. It's the allure of fast women, sex, drinking, drugs, that fast life. And what I have now is far better than that, if that makes sense.
Niall said you got a good one now. She knows how to pick out great guitars.
Yep, I see. That's the difference, guys. I picked out a woman now that can go in a store and pick out a guitar 10 times better than the one that I pick out. And if I don't do it right, she hits me in the head with a frying pan. Yeah. And if you need proof of that, just go to Discord. There's all kinds of cartoon pictures proving it. I've had that. I mean, I want to almost cry because I feel that I am a much better person now. And Linnell knew me back in those days. You know, she used to come and hang out when the band played. Linnell was a lot younger than I am, so everyone knows. So I was with someone at the time when she would sit outside and watch the band. It's amazing how things come back around in life. So even right now in my life, okay, if you would have asked me 6 years ago, would I be standing or sitting here in front of a camera with microphones talking on YouTube about playing in bars, getting drunk, waking up with 50 people in a room with, you couldn't take a step without crunching a beer bottle, or, you know, I would say no. I wouldn't disclose that about my life. You know, it's my past. I'll keep it to myself. If you would have told me that I would be on YouTube reviewing guitars, I would say, nah, I'll never go there. But I think I found a spot for me, and I think everyone on the right-hand side of the chat feels that way too. We miss going into the music stores and the camaraderie of talking with other musicians and hanging out. So this is kind of like that spot. We kind of come here, and the more you come back each week, the more you start to know the innuendos of the people that you see to your right. Everybody has a story, you know. And believe it or not, there's quite a bit of stories that go on here. And people remember that. And they go, well, oh, I remember when Jupe said this, or I remember when Devastator said that, or when Birdman said this, or, whoever it was, or Kurt. Kurt's brought up a lot of stories and stuff. And I find that it's just cool. Once you get to know somebody to that point and they have a moment like I just had, it kind of makes them a real person, if that makes sense. They're just not somebody you see on YouTube or chat to. And that's why I say it's kind of like family, because most of the people over here I've spoke to on many different occasions about many different topics. So if I don't see someone in the chat for a week or 2 or 3 weeks, I start to worry about them. It's like, well, I wonder where this person is. I wonder what happened. And I hope it's nothing that I've said, because I always say everyone has an opinion. Everyone has a right to that opinion. I'm not here to tell you what's best. I'm here to tell you what I find works for me and what I see in the guitar reviews as far as my opinion.
Steve said the only failure from messing up was not learning something from it.
Exactly. And I think that's where I was going, where I went into my rant as far as what I used to be and what I am today. My failure, I think, back then was 2 things. And I've said this before. The reason I had an issue playing out was drugs, drinking, and women. Okay? Couldn't do without the 3. But I think the part that got me was retention. Remembering the songs. You had to have everything. I think I had the look. I had the hair. I had the routine on stage. I wasn't a horrible looking man back then. I definitely had the look. I had an attitude, which people liked. I had I had the look. I didn't have the retention in playing. I just didn't have it. Doesn't mean that I wasn't a good guitar player. I was a good guitar player. I played in a lot of bands that were good bands. But I wasn't good enough. So, like I said, I had to make a decision. I saw people that I played with move on to bigger and better things, and I kind of viewed it, oh, I'm going to take this guy's position. He's moving on. Well, the rest of that group didn't. So he moved on to something better, and I would slide into that position. But that position maybe was a little bit better local band playing in a 200-mile radius, but it wasn't a better band playing on the East Coast, all the way up and down the East Coast. And the people that I was replacing, they were moving on to that position or going out to California and trying to make it on Sunset Strip. I never tried that. I just never tried. It was not thrown at me and never really discussed. The DC was a big market. There's been a lot of big bands come from DC and Baltimore. Believe me. A lot of big names. I played with some of them. Again, they moved on. I didn't. We're not getting into name dropping, but they moved on for a reason. They had talent. They had the look. They just had everything they needed to have at the time they needed to have it. I didn't. So that doesn't mean I can't contribute now. So this is how I contribute today, if that makes sense. And it really does fill a void. I said this too. I stopped playing for a long time, and I was missing something, and that something was music. And now that I'm playing music again, the love of music was always there. The love of guitar was always there. But I just didn't pick it up. I'm like, well, I'm going to pick it up. And I didn't. Or I'd pick it up for 10 minutes and go, yeah, I really missed that. And that would be it. I might not pick the guitar up for 6 months again. And finally, I just said, you know what? This is something, for me, I enjoy. And I'm going to really do music again. And that's what I do. I think you can see it in my reviews. You can see it on this live stream. I'm passionate about music. And you can tell if I'm really passionate about a piece of equipment. That's why I always say there is no such thing as being biased. We're all biased in one way, shape, or form. We are. But I try to say I feel, and if I see something that I think is substandard, I do say, yeah, this is a little cheesy. And it's up to you to agree or disagree. And I've had people disagree with me, and that's cool. That's what it's about. I see TED Talks to Life and Guitars, or TED Talks Guitars and Life, sorry. I'm all tongue tied now. Come in the group. Good to see you, Ted. Ooh, I need tickets for that airplane too, Ted. I need to go. The household here needs to go to the beach too. We haven't taken our vacation this year. We were just talking about a vacation. I don't know what we're going to do, but we're going to do something.
This month would be the time to do it.
Yeah, this month will be the time to do it, and I can pretty much tell you it's probably not going to happen due to work.
Or possibly next month.
Yeah.
Later the next month.
I have to put a lot of time, in before I can take a week off of work. Plus, we'd need to save a little bit of money because not only are you spending money on your vacation, but sometimes I've already used my vacation time. Missed a day here, missed a day there, sick time. I think I still got a sick day or something. So I'm going to lose time at work plus what you spend. So it kind of puts us in a funny spot this year.
Jerry Dover said, good, just so you know, ahead of time, I'll be sporadic for a while. He wants to head to Asia for 80-ish days around March. So between now and then, he'll be working as much as possible to make it.
Jerry, I love that band.
He's going to Asia.
Oh, he's not talking about the band Asia.
No. He's going for 80-ish days.
Okay, just rub it in, Jerry. I have never been out of the country.
Jupe said, you had a vacation. You went to Buc-ee's.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I went to Buc-ee's and Mikey guessed it and got another pedal from me. So I can't win here, guys. That's why the lips are sealed on if you guess it, you get something free because you guys are too good. Every time I say that, it's like, how in the world did you pull that? Still to this date, I don't know how Mikey pulled that answer, but he got his pedal. I'm a man of my word. He nailed it. He got it. Just like Birdman. I didn't figure anyone would get that, and Birdman throws it out. I'm like, oh really? Now I owe Birdman a pedal. So, well, I'll do it again. Believe me, guys. I'm all mouth, so I'm sure I'll throw it out again. You guess it, you get something free. Usually, that something free is going to be a pedal. So, I've got quite a few pedals up here that were here for review. So those are good instant prizes if that makes sense. Just so you guys know, there's a Lancelot Dr. J, awesome freaking distortion pedal. There's an Edge made by Nuex. That's a digital delay pedal, awesome. There's a Joyo digital delay. That one's okay. A Joyo chorus. Now I actually love the Joyo chorus. And then what's the other one? A Joyo flanger. And then there's a Seymour Duncan Mayhem. And a Morley pedal. And I think that is a volume pedal. An Ibanez TS9. There's a couple more back there that I can't really see. So we got a lot of giveaway pedals. Oh. Yeah, I can't believe he nailed that. That's still just... Yeah, Mikey just posted last. He stole my last pedal. That's okay. That's what it's about. Well, Jerry, when you go on the trip, man, have fun. Be careful over there. We're not going anywhere too far. We'll probably go to the beach or something. We've been wanting to go to the Ark. What state is that? Tennessee? Kentucky. There's a great big ark in Kentucky that was built, and we have been talking about it for several years, going and seeing the ark. And they actually, about 40 minutes away from there, there's the Creation Museum. Everyone knows here that I'm an Adventist, so I think that would be a good vacation for us to go see the Ark and then go to the Creationism Museum. But it's going to be a day at each spot. So a day there, a day at each spot, and a day home. So it's a 4-day thing. So maybe we can go there this year. That's where I would like to go. But who knows? We've been talking about it. It's still kind of up in the air. It's either there or go back to Fort Wayne. Everyone knows what's in Fort Wayne, Sweetwater. We haven't been up to, it's been like 2 years since we've been to Fort Wayne. So that would also be good. I don't know. We'll have to discuss it. Am I missing anything, hon?
No, Mikey said thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, Mikey. And if Birdman's still in the group, thank you guys. I mean, me giving you a pedal is the least I can do. Everyone to the right here is just super good people.
Steve said the Ark encounter is amazing. He was just there a few weeks ago. He didn't go to the Creation Museum yet.
It's time to throw somebody in the right-hand window under the bus. Really, Steve? Do you live nearby the Ark encounter? We have been talking about going there for at least 4 years. And it just doesn't seem like we get there. So maybe this year we can go. He has heard of the Creation Museum, so I think the two, they're so close. I definitely want to go to both. I think that's probably what we'll do this year is do that. We've been to Sweetwater, Fort Wayne. So I think the Creation Museum and the Ark Encounter would definitely be something cool for us. Of course, we've been to the beach. So I think we should do something different. Why keep doing the exact same thing? That's like food. I used to always eat the exact same thing. Now I eat a bunch of different stuff. And I wish I would have 30 years ago because I found some food that I didn't think that I liked, but I found out I did like. So I want to live now. That's like the exact same thing on guitars. I play guitars now that if you would have asked me 30 years ago, would I be jamming or would I like a Fender Telecaster? I would have said, oh, come on. I don't play country. A Telecaster is just a rocking guitar. Yeah, I'm sorry. A good Telecaster is a good Telecaster. And they rock. In my opinion and how I feel about it has completely changed. Every guitar has a place. And you can, there's a feel they have. And when I was a younger player, I didn't understand that. I just didn't grasp it. It's amazing how I've gotten dumber as I got older. And I qualify that because when I was 20 to 25, I knew everything. You wasn't going to tell me anything. I knew it all. I knew everything about sound. I knew everything about guitar. I knew everything about music. I was a genius. So I've gotten dumber as I got older. That's how you got to look at it. Because how I felt back then to how open I am now, it's completely different.
Steve said it's 7 hours from his home. He said he was in Lexington for the weekend for his daughter's cheer competition.
Oh, that's cool. I think for us, what is it, about 14-hour drive?
Yeah, I think so.
It's about a 14-hour drive for us to the Ark Encounter. But it's about a 13, 14-hour drive to Fort Wayne as well.
It's 12.
It's 12 to Fort Wayne?
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't do it in 12. Somebody stops a lot to go to the bathroom and get snacks. So that adds to the trip time. So if you're saying 14 hours, well, we're probably allowing snack and restroom time on that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know it's quite a ways away, but we may have to do that this year. So if you did not come in at the beginning of the stream, I see there's a lot of new people here. Something that I'm not something I don't do too much of is alternative tunings. And I think we forget how much fun some of these alternative tunings can be. And I want to qualify that I normally play in standard tunings. So if I make a mistake, please bear with, because muscle memory and the way your brain works
I was wrong. It's only 7 hours from here.
to the arc.
Yes.
All right, Linnell just looked it up. The arc encounter, according to Google, and that's probably the way the bird flies,
Almost 8 hours.
is almost 8 hours. She's saying 7 to 8 hours. So an 8-hour trip, we could probably do it in 10. You know, we're not, you're taking a vacation, so enjoy your trip. You know, if it's an 8-hour drive, try to find something to stop at. Maybe it's just something you always wanted to see on. Try to plot out your route, find a nice place to stay, you know, and maybe stop and eat. A place that has a little character. Don't just go, oh, I'm going from here right to here. There's thousands of different things in that route that you can go and stop. Make a vacation out of it. Yeah, it might be one day at the Arc encounter, but I'm sure between here and there's a place called Natural Bridge in Virginia. I haven't been to Natural Bridge. I would love to stop there. So that would be a good pit stop. From my house, stop at Natural Bridge, and then there's got to be something else. Make a day out of the travel, and then the next day, see the Arc encounter. All right, I'm going to turn off. Well, it doesn't matter. I can leave the mics on. So we are tuned to drop C. And as I said, I have this pedal turned in. I'm trying to make it sound like a dual rectifier. I think I got close. It is a little noisy. And like I said, I apologize if I make a mistake. I'm very rusty at alternative, but it sounds so mean. It's such a mean tuning. It really is. The way the D I was thinking regular tune. I went right to the E, and it's not E. Oh.
They don't know what pedal it is.
Actually, I love this little pedal. It actually does pretty well doing a dual rectifier sound.
Someone else said it sounds tinny.
It sounds what?
Tinny.
Tinny? Yeah. But I'm trying to get the dual. This is called the Extreme Gyro pedal. If it sounds tinny, a lot of that, if we take the boost off. So here it is with boost. If I take the boost, some of the boost out. So by taking some of that boost out, the level, I'll completely cut it off. Is that any better? See, the boost adds, if you listen to when I put the boost in it, it adds sizzle. So when you add the sizzle, it seems to get a little bright. You got to keep in mind, I don't have a dual rectifier, so I'm trying to make something kind of sound like a dual rectifier. This is like a $45 pedal, and I think it does well. It is noisy. Listen. Now I'm going to turn the pedal on. So this is without the boost. So when I hit the boost, you'll give it just a little bit. So without boost, if I sit and give it a little bit more gain, it's just very noisy. And I'm not good at it. I hear that tone, and it's usually just so oversaturated. To me, that's a little too much saturation. So if we cut it back a little bit. If we cut it back even more. See, at that point it starts to lose the kind of like the dual rectifier sound, if that makes sense. So I'm doing 50% on the gain. If you're familiar with the channel, very rarely do I play that style. I love that style. I used to play a lot of the Seattle type stuff. I actually like that style too. There's nothing wrong with it. I find myself always doing a certain thing, and we always have a tendency of doing what we're most comfortable with. If we want to be really good guitarists, we need to dabble and become more comfortable with the things we're not comfortable with.
And that's the Yamaha you're using?
Yes, that is the Yamaha amp that I'm using. The amp is actually very quiet. All the noise you're hearing is in this pedal. So if someone has a suggestion for a floor pedal that will give you that dual rectifier sound without the hum, please, 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 please put it in the chat to your right. And if you're watching and you're not watching this live, please, please, please go down and leave me a comment. What is I will spend good money for a really nice dual rectifier type pedal. Something that'll give me that high gain modern rectifier sound in a box. Okay? There again, I know I'm probably going to hear Tonex. Download a rectifier thing, put it in the Tonex, and you might be right. But if there's something like this that is very simple, just with some simple controls, I'm more prone to do that than to go down the Tonex rabbit hole.
Jerry said the Yamaha sounds stupid good for a desktop minus the pedal.
Actually, that's the amp we've been using for a couple weeks on the stream. So if you've been watching in the last really 3 months, I think, you've been hearing this small. I'm going to switch camera angles.
It's Jerry Dover.
Yeah, this is the little practice amp. It's a great little amp. For doing what we're doing here, it's great. And if you pay attention, that is my guitar ramp. That big rack of stuff right there. That's my guitar amp. But I play through this during the live stream. It's quick, simple, and it does great. And right now I have it on the clean channel, and all the distortion that you're hearing is coming from this extreme metal pedal. That doesn't mean that this thing actually has some pretty mean sounds too. Let's actually try that one time, since you bring that up. How mean can we make the Yamaha sound? So I'm gonna turn off. Huh?
Warhart said, doesn't Mesa make one? I think he's talking about the pedal that you were talking about.
I don't know. That's kind of what I'm curious. If Mesa makes one, I would be very curious to listen to it. So we're gonna unplug the Yo-Yo, and I'm just gonna plug directly into the Yamaha. So I'm gonna switch cameras. So we're taking the guitar cord, we're plugging right into the Yamaha. So I am bypassing the Yo-Yo. We're going to set that over here. And grab the guitar. So let me grab a pick. And we're probably going to be way stupid loud. Yeah, way loud. So I'm going to go over to my special channel. We're probably still going to be way too loud. that's that's about all this little Yamaha amp has in it. I'm almost at 75% gain. All right. That's about 75% gain. Master's at 50. But this is without the pedal. You can hear, I'm not saying that's not high gain. That's a lot of gain. It just doesn't have the rectifier sound. I know they have an app for the amp that you can go in and select different cabinets. I've never loaded the software to the computer, so before I say this amp's not capable of it, if someone has this amp and has the app, maybe you could check and see if they have a rectifier setting. I am just using the amp in its most basic form. Right here, there's a selector switch, and I'm just going from selector to high gain to lead to crunch to clean. And I know there are different models that you can use. I just don't have it set up to do that. So we're gonna cut the mid just a little bit. I love the amp. I just thought with a drop C tune, guys, I thought the pedal would do a little better, and I think it does. In my headphones, I can definitely hear that the floor pedal definitely gave us that more modern tone, if that makes sense. Is it a little noisier? Yeah, that Yamaha's on the guitar, and we don't have any noise. So it is introducing noise to the signal path, but that's okay. I don't think that if you've got a Mesa dual rectifier cranked up, I'm sure that it's not quiet when you're not playing.
Niles has to go. He's going to work tonight.
Oh, okay, Niles. Thank you so much for coming in, and don't work too hard tonight. We won't be streaming super late. Believe it or not, guys, I do have to work on a Sunday. Yeah.
Just strap on the with that.
Oh, it must be this one. There we go. I got to work on a Sunday.
Hey,
Huh?
Jupe said strap on the Schecter with that Ibanez and you'll have a dual sound.
That's it. I like it. I like it, Jupe. I was gonna retune the Schecter, but I knew it was gonna be too much work to set the Schecter up for drop C with the tremolo. So I was just like, eh. So the Ibanez here has a fixed bridge, so it was very easily switched over for the new tuning. It just made more sense. It makes me want a guitar with a fixed bridge with a high gain output pickup, something that I can easily switch between tunings. I don't really have that. Most of my guitars have floating bridges on them. So, and I've been talking about buying another RGA. That's a fantastic guitar for the price point. It truly is. I think I've proven that on the stream. I've played everything from clean sounding jazz stuff on it to hair music to drop C tonight. It really is a nice guitar for the price point. It shocks me every time. But if you see, we've got a new contender sitting in the seat over there. Anybody? I don't think anyone's brought up the new contender sitting over there. After we come back from our break, which we're getting ready to take our 5 minute break, it is our scheduled break. We're going to go over what was done with this guitar, why it's here, and where it's going. So please come back. Don't leave. There's so much more that we have to talk about and go over, especially that guitar. And if you're new and you just popped in, you don't have to be a subscriber to chat. If you notice, there have been no commercials. I'm turning commercials off during the live. And the main reason for that is if one person does a super chat, it's more funds to the channel than what the YouTube will give me during the live stream. And that's bare minimum super chat. It's usually about $1, $2 max for a live stream.
Birdman said you can buy the blue Ibanez, LOL.
Yeah, I can buy it. Linnell, what she paid for it, we could times by 2, and that's what she'd sell it to me for. She's a business person. She knows I like it, so she's going to capitalize on that. But hopefully you'll go down, hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell so you get notified. We're really trying to be a different kind of channel here, where it's just people coming in, hanging out, and the truthful reviews and product stuff and talking music and gear. That's the name of the channel, Music and Gear. But we do take a break, so go get something to drink, hit the restroom, get some victuals. If you're from Australia, maybe a Vegemite sandwich. Just saying. I do check guitars, and I do check them by Henry. So if you're in the UK, whatever the snack is in the UK, you can get the UK snack. But we'll be right back in 5 minutes, guys. It is Saturday night, so I gotta make sure that I get the right break scene. I think it's this one. We'll be right back. All right, guys. Make sure everything's up and running after our break. So I said when we come back we would go over this guitar. And I want to go over a little history. And I apologize if the mic was a little hot in some spots. I do have a dual mic setup going on, so as I turn my head, there should be very little difference in the structure and volume of my talking. We are trying to make improvements here. I think this channel is more about content. I'm not saying that I'm not worried about the video quality and audio quality. I am, but this is a very small channel. I think we're growing like we were, a year ago. I took a little bit of a break for about 2 or 3 months, and YouTube really penalized me and this channel for taking that break. So we are feeding the machine, and it's starting to reward us again. I see we have a chat rate of 3, so I see we got 19 people in. If all 19 people could just type something in real quick, let's get the chat. Whoa, we went down to a chat rate of 1 all of a sudden. If we can get the chat rate back up, that chat rate allows YouTube to see what's going on in here, and then it pushes it out for more people that are just getting on YouTube or going back to the main page, and they'll put the little avatar up there of Music and Gear live Saturday night, and hopefully somebody new will click in. During the break, I did see that we had some new people in, so hopefully that they enjoyed the conversation here, and hopefully that we'll see them again. We're here to have fun and enjoy ourselves, but also keep in mind, guys, if they're new, sometimes it's like a fish. When you buy a fish at the aquarium shop and you bring them home, you're supposed to put the little baggie in the tank, let them acclimate to the tank before you cut the bag open. So keep that in mind, guys. When we have new people, let them get a feel for who's here and what the channel's about. There's always time. Yeah, and there's a ton of channels on YouTube. Okay? When people come in, this may not be their cup of tea. I get it. But we always want to give people an opportunity to share their thoughts. I guess that's all I'm trying to say. Well, this guitar was purchased for a review here on the channel, and it is a Firefly, and it was horrible, a horrible product by this company. Beautiful guitar, but a horrible product.
Birdman said which Ibanez is in the chair.
That's the Ibanez I was just playing. That's Linnell's Ibanez. It's been tuned to drop C. I moved the Schecter over here, and I needed a stand to put this guitar on. So I only have 2 guitar stands, so this one was in the chair. So we put the Ibanez over there so we can kind of go over this one. So if you go back about a year ago, this guitar was reviewed, and it would not stay in tune at all. Horrible, horrible decision making from Firefly on this guitar. You can notice it now has a string tree on it. It did not have a string tree, and the rake angle coming off the nut to the tuners were completely wrong. You can see they used standard string trees here, which did not help whatsoever. So we did have to put a string tree on it. The locking nut stripped during the review of the guitar. It didn't even make it through the review, and it stripped the locking nut. It would not, as soon as you moved the bar, the guitar went out of tune. We went over this during the review. It's a beautiful guitar, just poor decision making. You see how the headstock is straight to the neck. To think that you're going to do that and then put a locking nut on it without a string tree, that's not going to happen. And that's why the nut stripped. As soon as you loosened the nut and tried to tighten the nut, the string was at such a different angle from the seat of the nut that the steel, the metal was so soft, it didn't have enough grabbing tension to pull that string back down to the seat with tune pressure on it. The tuners on this guitar are so-so at best. They are locking tuners, but you can feel that they miss and they're not very smooth. So this particular guitar was a miss. It really was. So keep in mind, if you see this guitar on Guitar Garden's site, that this was one of the guitars that they have manufactured, in my opinion, was a mess. But this channel is here to teach you how to fix these guitars. And I guess it was about 4 weeks ago, we did a live stream, how to build a better bridge. And this is one of the bridges that we built, okay? We wanted to fix this guitar with the bare minimum amount of money. So we replaced the base plate, we've replaced the posts, we've replaced the rear spring mechanism and the block and the springs. The factory springs were horrible. The block, nothing on that tremolo except the saddles would work. It was all proprietary copy stuff, and it was just horrible. So I've got the guitar plugged into the little Yamaha amp here, and I want to turn it on. We're going to listen to it. Knocked it out of tune. Yep. That's not very good, is it? These are new strings too. I'm wondering if the lock nuts. So I tried to do the bare minimum. With it just falling out of tune there, that means I need to take it down and figure out what just happened. It could be it's the same string. It could be the string is still stretching. So we're going to play it, make sure that it's right, If it continues to have a problem, I'll take it back apart and see what else is going on. What we've replaced on the bridge is the plate, the posts, the springs, the rear spring retainer, the tremolo spring that adjusts the fine tuners, but these are still the very, very, very cheap saddles, and they are cheap. So if we have to put saddles on it to fix it, then that's what we'll do. We are definitely moving in the right direction. This guitar worked just like the other one that I keep pointing out. When you move the bar, it would go down. Like, let's say if I was doing E and I did that, it would not return to 0. It would be down a half step. If I hit E and pulled up, it would stay high in tune. So if it keeps doing it, what I'm thinking the issue might be is the saddles. This is a very cheap pot metal saddle. I don't know if Jupe is still in the group or not. Jupe had a Floyd Rose special, and it kept slipping back here, and he was torquing this rear screw on the lock nut, and he actually stripped out one of the saddles. So I'm being very careful on how much pressure that I put on these rear locking screws on this retaining nut. I do not want to strip the saddles out, but I know that these are cheap saddles. So if I really lean on this like I do my 1500s or my 1000 bridges, the saddle's going to strip. So you got to be careful with these cheap saddles. So hopefully that one string, it's just finding its spot there. But if it keeps doing it, that's going to be the next thing that'll have to be replaced on the guitar or the saddles. Leaps and bounds better than it was. I'm just concerned. I played the guitar yesterday and I abused it. So I'm very concerned if that string slipped in the nut. Everyone knows no guitar leaves here until I know it's right. And being that this just fell out of tune like that, it will not be leaving here Monday or Tuesday. I have to work tomorrow. So I definitely want to play the guitar some more and make sure it's right before it goes out to Devastator. It's actually not going to Devastator. Is it his son?
I believe so.
I believe it's Devastator's son. He wanted something very budget minded. This guitar, like I said, did not review well. There was all kinds of problems, and I fixed the guitar with the bare minimum amount of parts. That's what he wanted done. So I still want to make sure the guitar is right before it goes out. So I'm going to continue to play it and make sure that it is holding tune. The next thing I want to point out that's really strange on this guitar, this is the factory bar. So it looks like it's pointing up to the stars. Look at that angle. So everyone knows I do like budget guitars, and I think there are good budget guitars and then they're just failures. And there were so many bad decisions that Firefly did on this guitar. There are good budget guitars out there that you can start with and put a minimum amount of money on in it and actually still have a good product. This one, to get this guitar up to, let's say, a professional level where you know you could take it out and play it and not have an issue, you would definitely have to replace the tuners on it. 100%. The tuning keys are not too good. And the pickups are voiced. This was in between Firefly's new Nico pickup. I think the new one's a little better. This pickup here is still far better than the ones that they did 2 years ago. They would be microphonic. Check, 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 check. So you can tell they're not microphonic. It's not coming through the amplifier. But they're just not quite as good as the ones that they're doing now. This was in between Firefly's, pickup run. I think they've kind of went backwards on some of their tremolos. To show you kind of what this one used to do. So, these were so bad. Let me turn the channel off. These were so bad that Firefly then said, okay, that tremolo is so bad, everyone wants a Floyd Rose, so let's stick a Floyd Rose on them. I would like to say the Floyd Rose was better, but I hate to say it, the Floyd Rose was probably worse. This is a true Floyd Rose bridge, and it's not good. This is the cheaper than special. Horrible. I mean, you can hear the pitch change. But if you listen to the actual pickup, let me try to find somewhere in neutral. If you listen to the pickup is better. See, everything's out of tune now. But the pickup is smoother, and it's still got a lot of gain to it. It's got a lot of punch. So, I think they made some improvements, and they actually made some not improvements. This bridge that says Floyd Rose with the screen print, just if you buy one, plan on replacing the bridge. This has the cheap saddles on it, just like that one. It just has. It's not a licensed byproduct. It's a real Floyd. But this is the below the special Floyd. That's horrible. This guitar is back on sale at Guitar Gardens. If you plan on buying this guitar, and it's going to cost you $300 to your door after shipping, count on replacing the bridge. Probably the cheapest way to go is just to slap a Godo in it for about $150. But you're going to have to replace the nut too. Because, again, this is a very cheap nut. So by the time you do that, you're going to have $500 in this guitar. My suggestion is just buy the RGR Ibanez that has the Ibanez Floyd in it. Either way, you're spending $500, $470 if you want one with a bridge. Unless you just got to have this paint job and you're willing to do the work for the same amount of money, I would just get the RGR. It's past awful, but we're gonna fix this guitar like we're fixing that one, and when it's fixed, it'll go up for sale. But if you're thinking about buying it, I did see that they do have it back up on Guitar Gardens. Think twice. The tremolo is past awful, and it's not just the tremolos; it's the spring. The claw is very cheap in the back. Most of them are stamped steel, but this one's very cheap. And the springs are just, yeah. It's that gold colored steel, that real cheap inferior metal. That's the springs that are in it. Yeah. And if you plan on fixing this one, you can go back and watch our How to Build a Better Bridge. There was two bridges built, a silver one and a black one. Follow the black one. We're trying to do this one at bare minimum amount of money. sometimes if you figure your labor when you're trying to do something as cheap as you can, if you got to go back and redo it, did you save any money? So I'm going to say follow how we built the black one. I know that tremolo works well. It's going in Jupe's guitar. Build that, and you're going to have a little over $550 in it. Yeah, honey.
Niles got back on for a minute to say that TC Electronic AmpWorks dual rec preamp pedal is like a dual rectifier pedal.
TC Electronics. Thank you so much. Would you say Niles put that up?
Yeah.
Thank you, Niles. I will definitely look into the TC Electronics. I used to have multiple rack mount units from TC. I sold about 15 years ago. TC Electronics used to make some great rack mount digital signal processors. Some of the best. I sold them. I got decent money for them. I wish I had them back because now they're going for like $2,500 for a good TC Electronics DSP like I used to have. Now people want them again. I did sell some of my stuff, but thank the Lord I didn't sell it all during my downtime. But TC Electronics makes nice stuff. But avoid this one, guys, unless you plan on putting extra money in it. I would say tomorrow I would spend more time with this guitar, but I actually have to work tomorrow. We're kind of behind down in the city, so I've got a ton of stuff that I got to take care of at work. So I'm not going to have the time to devote to it. And as I said, I try to do the best possible work I can within the budget of the customer. So if I find that the guitar is as stable as it is right now, and the reason that it's going out a little bit is the saddles, I will have to reach out to Devastator in this case and say, okay, it still has an issue due to the cheap saddles from the original tremolo. Do you want to spend the extra $50 and put better saddles on it? If I find that it's not necessarily the saddles, then we'll look at it. I'm thinking it would be a saddle issue or the screw going back into the saddle. You know, not being able to get that extra pressure and that string is slipping in the nut. I don't feel comfortable putting any more pressure on that locking nut due to the cheap saddles. So we'll see. Hopefully it's just the strings continuing to stretch. That's the second time it was played. So if I pick it up Monday and Tuesday and it does it again, then I know it's a saddle issue, and I'll have to talk to Devastator and see if he wants to put saddles on it as well. But that's the issue that I have with some of the budget guitars. Sometimes if you're trying to save that money, sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. By the time you get to the end result to where it's a good stable guitar, you could have put that money in a name brand product. There's two ways to look at it. If I put $500 in a Firefly, it's still a Firefly. It's a $200 guitar. You're gonna get killed on the resale.
Jerry said, had there been a Firefly yet that didn't need something replaced?
Exactly. But there are certain Fireflies, Jerry, that are just phenomenal instruments. Oh, thank you. Holy mackerel, Juke.
Go buy another.
Hey, that was some good food at Bucky's. Thank you so much, Juke. So we have a guitar here for Juke too. And I've tried to cross every T on that guitar. Okay. So is every guitar perfect? Absolutely not. That's just proof. I thought, now I still don't know. I'm just throwing darts right now. I know as I played that guitar, it went out of tune. Should it go out of tune? Absolutely not. It should hold tune. But it does have new strings on it, and I'm using the $5 saddles that come on that. Literally, you can buy the bridge that was in this guitar, you can get on eBay for $15. It's a $15 Floyd Rose tremolo. That's with the springs, the block, the claw, everything. It's $15. You can't expect much when you're buying the whole bridge for $15. The block, a cheap Floyd Rose replacement block, not the big heavy brass one, just a replacement block, is $19. So you can only expect so much out of a $15 Floyd Rose. So I'll continue. I'll probably tell him I want another week with it just to make sure that it's right. Hopefully it's just the string stretching, but I have a feeling he's going to have to get saddles. I know Cash makes a pretty decent set of regular steel saddles for I think like $36. So that might be a way for him to go. The Floyd Rose special saddles, I'm going to tell him not to do it. They're like $50, but they're soft metal. So I wouldn't go that route. Music Lily has a pro saddle that's pretty good. But again, you're in the $55 price range. At that price point, I would just go ahead and get the Cash stainless steel saddles for $65. So, how do you say it? You get what you pay for. You know, is it worth it? That's the thing. And in Devastator's case, it is because the guitar has made a little bit of money on the channel. So I sold him the guitar very cheap and getting the parts to fix it. So even if he has to spend another $50 on it, it's still a dirt cheap guitar. It really is. But in your case, buying the product new, paying full price for the product, and buying the parts, my advice is if you look at this product on their site and you see this straight neck and you're not seeing this string tree, just immediately know that that can't work because the angle coming off of this nut to your tuning keys can't be right. And I'm still waiting on Firefly to actually give us a decent bridge. I mean, again, look at that tremolo bar. I mean, it's sticking out at like a 35-degree angle from the guitar. It's the strangest thing I think I've ever seen. So there's a reason why, guys. There's definitely a reason why they're budget guitars. They're cutting corners somewhere to save that dollar, if that makes sense. So what did I miss? Oh, Trucker Bob's in here. He says he's chilling in Mississippi tonight. What are you doing down in Mississippi? Are you picking up or dropping? Well, I'm sure if you're dropping off, there's probably another load to pick up, so you're not just driving for free on the way back. So that was kind of a dumb comment I was getting ready to say. Everyone give Trucker Bob the thumbs up. Without truckers, the country stops. We need them to get stuff where it needs to go. Everyone goes, oh, it comes in on a boat. Goes off a boat onto a truck. So we need more truckers out there pulling stuff, making sure that it's in the store so we can purchase it. Whether you order a guitar at Sweetwater, guess what? It went on a truck to get to you. So everyone say thank you to Trucker Bob. I can't. That's a hard life living it on the road like that. But I think he's got that truck set up. He's got his guitar. He's got a little amp in there. So when he pulls over, he's jamming in that sleeper part of the cab. I guarantee you.
He said he's delivering there Monday. Then he's going to Yoakum, Texas after that.
Yoakum, Texas. Wow. Yoakum, Texas. I don't know where Yoakum. I've never heard of it. Seeing the Mississippi Queen anywhere? That's Stefan posted that. All right, guys. I just touched base on the Firefly. That was the last topic that I had. So it's open forum right now. So someone post the next topic. I'm going to go to Discord, and I'm going to try to do this without disturbing the stream. and I am going to go to questions and topics. So, our first question in the Discord. If you're not familiar with this, we have a Discord channel. Devastator's not in the group tonight, so I don't know if Linnell knows how to post things in there with the Discord address or not. Hopefully, Devastator will put it in there later. I can't do it because I'm doing the stream. But in the Discord server, there's a question and topics for live stream. So it looks like we have one question. So, which neck through guitar would sustain better? A Floyd Rose type with a big block or a fixed bridge? I'm guessing the fixed bridge. We kind of already went over this earlier by accident. You can get more sustain with a larger block. You know, all kinds of different materials will do different things. As I said earlier in the stream, there are luthiers, luthiers that people hold in high regard that claim a bolt-on neck has more sustain than a neck through. Bolt-on neck best, set neck second, neck through last. And I know that's kind of shocking, but it's true. They think that. What do I think? I don't know. I say the overall construction of the guitar and how well it's assembled and manufactured is the key. Whether it's neck through, a set neck, or a bolt on. Again, we kind of went over it earlier, and I didn't even realize that was one of the questions in Discord. If you have a bolt-on neck, and that neck pocket looks like someone went in there with a chisel, and that neck, when you bolt it in there, is only making contact in certain spots, it's not a solid contact, okay? So you're going to lose something there. When people take the neck off the guitar and they just stick a piece of paper or a credit card in the back, well, now it's only touching in two spots. It's touching in the back of the neck pocket and out at the face. And there's a gap in the center. It can't touch in the center. So you've reduced your contact surface area down 80%, 75%. So you're going to lose some transfer there. So that's why I say if you're going to do a shim, put a wedge shim in. Something that goes all the way across the neck pocket that's been tapered. 0.5 degree, 1 degree, 0.25 degree, whatever. You can get them. They're not expensive. Okay, they are well done shims that you can stick in there, and when you put the neck down in it, it's making contact all the way across. Those are the only shims that I use when I service guitars. I don't ever put a little piece in the back and just bridge it to the face of the neck pocket. I don't do that. So, in my opinion, sustain is how well the guitar was put together. How well is the machining? If it's well put together, if you've got a Floyd Rose bridge and a hardtail bridge, I think you can get just as much out of the Floyd if you've got a good claw, good heavier diameter metal in the spring. Not a thin diameter where the spring rate changes. Your claw is heavy, the spring is heavy, the block is heavy, and you have a lot of mass in that bridge. I think that it doesn't make a difference. If you've got a pot metal bridge with a little tiny plate block on the back with a pressed steel claw, yeah, your fixed tail of any quality is going to be better than that cheapo bridge. But if you build it right and you use good components, you're going to get a lot of sustain either way you go. That's my thought. I'll look on the right-hand side of the chat and see if someone disagrees with me.
You have another question there in Discord.
I have one more question in Discord. If someone else has a different opinion on that, please post to the right. That's my thought. I'd say, number one, construction. How well is it put together? Okay. Well, I'm going to say number one, how the quality of the components you're using. Number two, the construction. How well was it put together? Did they take the time and assemble the instrument properly and do it right? And do they have a good setup on the guitar? If you have a bad setup on the guitar, you're going to have bad sustain. Yeah, it's just how it is. That's my thought. You guys tell me what you think. That's my opinion. And what I've seen with my neck through right here, that guitar has a lot of resonance against my chest. And it does seem to sustain well. Is it the best sustaining guitar I have? If it is, I'm not noticing that it's so far better than any other instrument that I already have. I didn't pick it up and go, oh my gosh, this thing sustains forever because it's neck through. I didn't get that. But I do get a nice resonance feel against my chest when I'm playing it. But I get that with some of my other guitars that are bolt-ons as well. So I can't say that it's better. I can't prove that. And I'm not getting that feeling when I hit a chord, if that makes sense. What I see the big difference is access and ease of play with the neck through and the way the neck access is cut. It's just easier to play, just effortless to play actually, versus any of my bolt-ons because of the heel of the bolt-on. That's just what I feel. Let's go back to Discord. Let's see the next one. Oh, we do have another one. It says, Avery, would you consider fret wire height that is 0.73 millimeters tall, too short, or just about right? I'm more about the number of the fret wire.
This is on his old 80 Gibson that he mentioned the other night.
That seems really, really short to me. To be honest with you, if you're planning on doing a refret, I mean a crown and level at 0.73, I don't think you're going to have enough meat to do a re-level at that point. I got my calibers here. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Are you sure you're right on that, Steve? That is like, there's no fret left. Just, I don't even know what these frets are, okay? But we're going to take this Firefly here, and we're going to go down and we're going to check the height of these frets. Now, these frets have not had a fret level yet. It's a new guitar. So these frets are 1.11. So that's quite the difference. .12. We're going to try it again. .11. So could you do it? It depends on how much fret wear is in the fret. If you pull the string and you're seeing fret wear, you've got to sand it down at least to get the fret wear out. And at the measurement that you're telling me, I'm pretty sure you're looking at a refret. You know, could you do it? Yeah, you could probably do it, but there's not going to be much fret left. I'm going to say you're going to need a fret, new frets, buddy. I hate to say that. It's just when your fret is that short, you're not going to have any room to dig in, if that makes sense. So if you're an aggressive guitar player, it's going to feel flat and lifeless, if that makes sense. It's really how much money you want to spend. At that point, if someone brought it in, I would definitely say you need a refret, if that makes sense. It's on a Gibson, so you're not throwing your money away. A Gibson's always going to bring its money, and it's already wore down to the point now at .73. Doing a free fret's going to help the value more than it's going to hurt it, if that makes sense. It's going to make the guitar playable. It depends. If you don't plan on selling the guitar, uh, put a jumbo fret on it. There's nothing wrong with that. If that was my guitar, I would go with a wide jumbo. I wouldn't go extra jumbo, but I would definitely go. Gibsons have a smoother feel because of the crown. So if you want to keep the Gibson feel, go with a wide fret jumbo. Because not only can you go with a tall fret, but you can go with a wide fret. The wider the fret, the higher the radius you can put on it,
Jerry,
if
don't
that makes
forget
sense. Oh, okay, Jerry. Thank you for coming in. You were our only moderator tonight, other than Linnell. We're down Devastator. He had a family member pass, and he's had to go to a funeral today. So everyone pray for Devastator and his family.
I don't think it was a funeral. It was like a get together they were having.
Or a get together. I thought it was a funeral.
It was for his wife's grandmother. She passed away, I think, last week.
Oh, his wife's grandmother.
So it was like a celebration of life.
Celebration of life, yeah. So everyone, if you would bow your head and pray for healing for Devastator's family. When you miss a family member like that, it's tough. So, but thank you, Jerry, for coming in and taking care of the chat for us. And if you notice, unlike some channels here, we actually only have a couple moderators, and that's on purpose. Um, I like the moderators. They're there to do their job, and hopefully they keep everybody straight. So I want to say thank you for Jerry for coming out and helping, and of course Linnell, she's a moderator as well. Um, but Devastator is kind of like the right hand guy here. He runs the Discord. This will be the first live show he's missed in probably 7 or 8 months. So this is his little mini vacation.
Steve said, I don't care about the value. It's a keeper and will be passed on. Never to be sold.
Yeah, going back, Steve, if you like the smooth feel of the Gibson, go with a wider fret because you're going to be able to put a flatter crown on the fret itself.
He said he just has trust issues with getting someone to do it.
Yeah, that's the issue. I'm not going to lie to you. Like guitars that have ebony, I've done them, but ebony chips out so bad. So there's a lot of reasons to go to a wider fret, especially if you have an ebony fretboard. So when you heat that fret and you go to pull it out, there's going to be chip. It's going to fray the material a little bit. You pray it doesn't fray too bad. When you pull the fret and you put a wide fret in, that's going to hide some of that if you had some bad tear out. But you can count on a little wood fill. I don't care who does it. I don't think I've ever done a refret that I didn't get a couple little hair fibers where it's like a little splinter that'll pop up somewhere. That what you're looking for is to happen the bare minimum to where you don't have to fill the neck. There are fillers that once you do it, you really can't tell, but you're going to have to use some fillers somewhere. Odds are, unless all the stars align, and they just happen to come out effortlessly, count on a couple spots where your tech is going to have to put a little filler in. If you go to a wider fret, that's going to help hide some of that. It's really bad for about the first 32nd of an inch on either side of the dado where they cut the groove for the fret to go in. Most of the time the fret hides it, but there are times where it doesn't. So if you go to a wider fret, you can hide some of that. Plus, it's still going to get that Gibson feel because with the wider fret, you could put a real slight, real flat radius crown on it. Out of all the crowns, I like a flatter radius. I think it gives the guitar a smoother feel when you're playing. But a tall, like a jumbo, with that, also allows you to be able to dig into the guitar and make it more aggressive. If you're more of an aggressive player, then go to an extra jumbo. It's kind of up to you. The taller the fret, the more you over fret, the more it can go out of tune. So keep that in mind as well. If you're used to playing that guitar, I just saw you post a picture in Discord on it. If you're used to playing that guitar aggressively, I can guarantee you, you're hitting the wood at some point. So when you refret that guitar, when you get it back, it's going to be a completely different animal. Okay, if that makes
He
sense.
said he sent a picture to Discord.
Yep, I'm looking at it. That's why I just said I see a picture that he posted in Discord. I'm going to zoom in on it. Woof! Okay, number one, Steve, by your picture, whoever leveled the frets, when I see a crisp line, I see they leveled it, and there's hardly. It's almost like they didn't go back over it with a crowning file. They literally look like shelves, flat shelves on top of your frets. Wow. That's pretty bad, Steve. They probably didn't want to cut any more off the fret, but the crowning the fret doesn't make the fret shorter. Once you level the fret, you run your Sharpie across it, you're supposed to crown it and leave the black line. You want to minimize that flat spot. Literally half of your fret is completely flat. So this is my opinion. There's no way the intonation and the fretted intonation of those notes can possibly be right on that guitar. Your crowning point in those frets are off 32nd, 3/64ths of an inch on every fret. Yeah, just plan on doing a refret. That does not look like ebony. That looks like rosewood to me. So it shouldn't be too hard to put frets in that guitar. It's rosewood. Just make sure they get good and hot. I hate to break that to you, buddy, but that's. I wish I could do a. I wish I could do a link so everyone could see it. That's pretty bad. Yeah, as far as finding someone to do it, I would check around locally. It's a hard decision. What I want to qualify what I say. When you get the guitar back, it's going to be a completely different guitar. I've got a guitar in here. It's a PV Nitro. I played it for many, 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 many years. It needs a refret. It still plays, but it needs a refret. I haven't refretted it because I like the guitar. Okay? I'm not saying I can't refret it and do it properly. I like the guitar the way it is. Even though it needs a refret, I am so worried that it's going to change the characteristics of the guitar so much that I'm not going to like it. I don't really play the guitar that much anymore, so I've made the decision just to leave the guitar the way it is with the worn out frets and just play it occasionally and use it as a remembrance thing. And I want to say that to you because if you refret the guitar, it is going to be a completely different guitar when you get it back. Is it going to be better? 100% better. But if you're in love with it now and you do a refret, when you get it back, it's not going to be the same guitar. Don't let someone tell you that it's going to be as it is but better. It's not going to be. It's the frets is what makes the guitar have a certain feel. The frets, the setup, and that's why you have to give your tech as much information as you possibly can so he gets an idea of what you like. Being that you don't have a tech now, it takes a little while for your tech to get to know you. Okay? Everyone describes things a little differently, so your tech's got to make a leap of faith to go when you come in and say X that's what you mean in relation to what he's heard other people say. So he's going to make a decision, do X, hand you the guitar, and hope that's what you were shooting for. But if it's not, and you go to the tech and you say, well, I like this a little more, and he works on it, after time you build a relationship with that person and they get to know what you like. In your case, if you're looking for someone, you don't have that relationship, if that makes sense. And refretting an instrument is probably the most difficult job a luthier and a guitar tech has. A luthier is here and a guitar tech is here. So doing a refret, unless you really feel comfortable with that tech and he's done a bunch of them, I would look for more of a luthier person, if that makes sense, to do the work. That's just my opinion. But it definitely needs a refret, buddy. I hate to say that, looking at the pictures. So I'm going to look at the chat. Steve says it's not great, Avery, so I assume he's talking about the playability. I can see that. The guitar is going to play very flat, and the fretted notes are going to be out because it's such a flat crown. Well, I don't think it has any crown on those frets. Let me see. Warhearts, I bet something is on sale. Trucker Bob was laugh out loud. Stainless steel or nickel? Everyone, stainless steel is going to last forever, no doubt. There's nothing wrong with nickel frets. There's been more guitars made with nickel frets than stainless. And you've got to really play your instrument to wear out nickel frets. You do. We're not out playing out every night, 3 and 4 hours a night. If you do that, sure, you're going to wear them out in probably 2 years. If you're playing an hour a week, 2 hours a week, you might have 20 years on those frets.
Jupe's gotta go.
Oh, okay, Jupe. Thank you so much for the super chat. And have a good night, buddy. And no, I did not send you an email because I'm still feeling it out. But I will send you an email, Jupe, let you know. But don't worry about it. It's fine. We're fine. It's good. It'll get there. So, stainless steel or nickel. The guitar will get just a fraction brighter with the stainless steel. Other than that, stainless steel is a little harder to work. It's harder on your tools. It's harder to crown. And it's harder to get a mirror-like finish on it. But once it's done, it will hold that 3 or 4 times longer than a nickel fret. Is it more expensive? As far as the fret wire itself, not really. It gets more expensive due to the labor on trimming the fret, installing the fret, chamfering the fret, crowning the fret. So luthiers charge more money because it's just harder on their tools and they have to take more time. If you don't plan on selling the guitar and you play it a tremendous amount, put stainless steel on it. It's not going to hurt anything. You're not planning on selling it, so no one's going to care that you took a Gibson and put stainless steel frets on it. You're doing it so you can play it and play it a lot. If you're worried about it getting a little brighter, then put nickel on it. But like I said, unless you're playing a tremendous amount, we're at my age. Even if I played my Schecter for an hour every day, and it had regular frets on it, could I wear them out before I pass? Maybe. But I've got so many other guitars here, it's never going to happen. Because my one Firefly over here might get some love. My Kramer's going to get some love. My Epiphone Dot's going to get some love. The Ibanez over there is going to get some love. So, in reality, the guitar isn't going to get that much straight time because I'm playing multiple instruments. So for me, with how I'm living and playing now, stainless steel and nickel, I don't have to worry about wearing out a nickel fret because I'm playing a bunch of different guitars. When I was playing out live, it took me about 7 years, 6 years to destroy the frets on my PV Nitro. It needed refret in 95 when I contacted PV over it, but I just didn't send it. I was so worried about changing the way the guitar felt. So
Yeah, Steve said he's known it's needed a refret for years. He just wanted someone else's opinion.
yeah, it needs a refret, buddy. But take your time. If it's needed it for years, don't rush. Don't rush. Uh, if you're looking for a local person, uh, if you find someone that gives them a good review, wait. Find somebody else that gave him a good review. Get to know that person. The more people you talk to, the better off you're going to be. Look at some of his more recent work. So if someone said, "Oh yeah, I used him 5 years ago," a lot can change in 5 years. People's attitude, their work ethics, a lot can change in 5 years. Trust me, it can. Someone that was really, really good 5 years ago that's upper in age, maybe in 5 years their eyesight isn't as good. They've got the shakes a little bit, and they're just not as precise with the tools as they were 5 years ago. And that again, if it's someone younger and you talk to them, "Well, he did a guitar for me 5 years ago and it was horrible." Well, if he's still working on guitars, maybe he's gotten better. So you need to keep all these things in mind. That's why I say look at recent work. If someone says he did it 2 years ago, it's not that it's a bad review, but that was 2 years ago. If it's a good review, it's a good review. But try to find someone that's just had a refret done or something serious done their guitar within the last 4 or 5 months, 6 months, and talk to those people. Because that's work that's just left the shop. Make sure that he's still up to the task for doing it.
Turn Rob's about what does it cost to get a whole fretboard change from a luthier, namely you.
To be honest with you, Bob, I really wouldn't take on replacing a fretboard for a couple reasons. I'm not really set up here for replacing fretboards. I'll do refrets locally, but peeling a fretboard off a neck and then re-gluing it, I just don't have the steamers and the jigs here to properly do it. It's a laminated product, okay? So if something's out of whack in the fixture when you laminate those two boards together, it can cause issues. It really does. You can't just have the neck laying and put clamps on it. If something, let's say the truss rod or something, and this neck isn't perfectly straight, and you laminate this other board to it, and it's not perfectly straight during the lamination process, it's going to cause that truss rod to work harder to move that neck one way or the other. So when you do that relam of that fingerboard, that neck has to be as close as possible to being right, if that makes sense. And I just don't have a fixture down here to do that. Is most luthiers and techs going to tell you that? Absolutely not, because most likely they don't have a fixture to do it either. And that's as honest as I can be. If they say they can, ask them if they have a retention fixture that can get that neck perfectly straight with zero truss rod influence. You want that thing to set in a fixture, and the fixture take this twist out of the neck or this twist out of the neck. You know, this way and this way. Make the neck as perfect as it can possibly be in the fixture before you laminate that fingerboard on. Just like a multi-piece neck, when you laminate wood together, it makes it stronger. But if it's twisted when you laminate it, guess what? When you take it out of the jig, it stays twisted. That's why if you look at curved handrails and curved woodworking, a lot of people take little strips of wood and glue it and bend it. Because when you bend it, each layer of wood is a different length. So it pulls on the prior ply in the glue to keep that radius. Does that make sense? So if you don't have a fixture and that neck isn't perfect and you laminate it, you've made that curve or that twist in the neck extremely hard to get out with the truss rod. And if you've got a twist this way, the truss rod will not fix that. It only fixes twists this way, not this way. That's why I say, ask them if they have a fixture to get that neck perfectly flat in every orientation.
Truck Bob says I don't think the guitar would be worth it anyways, I don't guess. And it's a neck through, so that would be even harder.
Yeah, a neck through is going to be harder because of the fixture required to put it in. It's going to be a special fixture. I've thought about buying the Stumac fixture. Stumac, of course, Stumac doesn't make it. It's made by, forget the name of the company, but it's like $1,200. I just don't do enough of that work to justify the expenditure, if that makes sense. It's YouTube itself. It's kind of like the money pit, buying microphones, trying to prove it. I've lost more money on YouTube than I've made. Working on guitars, I do make a little bit. But tooling and stuff's expensive. Files are expensive. I have radius files. So when I take the frets out of the guitar, I have multiple radius blocks that are CNC'd. When I put sandpaper on it, I can sand the fingerboard down and make sure the radius is completely right and true. I have like 7 different blocks. So that's another reason why compound radius guitars, I can't do that. I can refret it, but I have to manually sand the neck, okay, because it's a compound radius. The next issue with a compound radius, even though I have cauls, you know, a caul is it's a piece of metal bent with a groove that fits over the fret so you can press it in. On a compound radius neck, every fret is a different radius. So I've been thinking about buying one of the multi-fixture, it's called a fractal radius tool, and no one now has the 6-point fractal tool. The 4-point fractal tool is $500. So it's $500 just for the tool.
Warhart wants to know what the Plek business is about anyway.
Plek. Well, let me finish the fractal tool has 6 points. So it can't touch all points of the fret at one time. So you got to move the neck back and forth in the press to make sure you're pressing in every contact location. It's not an ideal thing. And I guarantee you, if you go to a guitar manufacturing place, if they're not doing mass quantities, the likelihood of them having multiple press fixtures for every different radius press is probably 0. They're probably using a fractal press as well and rolling the neck back and forth. You got to do a lot of it. I do it part-time, so there's just certain tools that I don't have. I'm being honest with you because I don't ever want anything to leave here that's not 100%. Like I just played this guitar, it went out of tune a little bit. So I'm not going to ship it. Every guitar that I work on stays here for a little bit. I want to make sure the product's right. So since this guitar had an issue, I am going to continue to work on it and make sure the guitar is right. And YouTube says it just had a problem, so hopefully we're still alive. And we are. It just closed out and then reopened. I want to make sure that the product's right. So that's my name on the product. I want to make sure it's right. And since I'm not local to everybody, I'm telling you what you need to look for and what to ask for when you find people. I'm a small shop, so I do a lot of fret leveling, a lot of bridge modifications. I do that a lot. Tuners, restrings, setups, stuff like that. Refrets we do, but as far as delaminating a neck, at that point, by the time you pay a luthier to do it, I would say you would be better off to buy a neck from Warmworth. Because remember what I said earlier about a glue. The fingerboard's already been glued on once. So that glue is soaked in to the fibers of the wood. If I steam it, yes, I can get it to delaminate and separate. But that upper piece of that wood already has glue in it. To do it properly, it needs to be milled a little bit to open up the wood fibers so the glue can penetrate back into the wood. If not, you're gluing onto glue. And that is not a strong bond. You have to have open wood fibers to get that bond, that chemical bond in the wood. This is stuff that you're not going to hear other guitar techs tell you because they just want the work. So I'm letting you know, if you've got to do that, by the time you pay a luthier to do it, you'd probably be better off to buy a Warmworth neck. You really would. Unless the guitarist was for stupid money and played by someone very famous, then yes, salvage it, keep it stock, keep it original, do it. But if it's not an extremely valuable guitar and you like it, let's say a $1,500 guitar and you want to keep it, I would look into a replacement neck before I spent $500 or $600. If you can find someone to do it, because you're talking a refret, new fingerboard, complete setup. I don't think you're going to find somebody for $600 to do that for $600. And I know you can get a neck in that price point. Not taking work away from me. Be smart. Sometimes it's better to do that than to save it. And like I said, now if someone famous played it and the guitar has a history, I get it. I know why you'd want to save it and keep it stock. But if it doesn't have that, look into a replacement neck. You heard it from me because I'm about honesty. I don't want to lie to you guys. We're growing as a channel, I think, because of the honesty here. Just like when we went over the multi-piece necks and what Jackson's doing. That's my honest opinion of what Jackson's doing. So I see the chat's moving pretty good now. We got to get that chat rate up again. Sorry for being dumb. My honey said she's dumb. She's not dumb.
Well, I put, he said doo-doo, because you said doo-doo.
Yeah. I got to take a drink, guys. I'm doing a lot of talking. I can tell because my throat's getting dry. Condolences. Linnell Trice. So very sorry to hear that.
I said I was being dumb, so I was just trying to stay out of my head, because I went to my favorite aunt's funeral today, and it was a little rough on me.
Yeah, we also had a funeral today. So it's not just Devastator. I thought about canceling the stream tonight. One, because of the funeral today, and again, I have to work tomorrow. But I know everyone kind of looks forward to it. I look forward to coming in here on Saturday and talking guitars too. So I will be fine tomorrow. And believe it or not, this is lightening my mood over the rest of the day. It's good to be able to come in and talk with friends and talk about the stuff we love, if that makes sense. So this is uplifting versus the rest of the day. So that's what it's about. Music is supposed to be something that heals us and makes us happy. And I know it does that for 100% fact that it does. So I need to look at the time here, guys.
It's 10 minutes to 11.
2:45. 2:45 on the time. Just keeping track of it, guys. Thank you, Trucker Bob. We're kind of at the point in life where the Lord is taking more away from us than He's giving us. The older we get, the more we'll find friends are no longer with us, families no longer with us. We're just getting to that point. It's sad to say, but it's true. Everyone knows when I did the Firefly Mad Cat video, right in the middle of that video, my mother passed. And I dedicated that video to my mother because we got the phone call from the hospital while I was recording the demo section in that video. And you'll immediately see the difference in me when I go over final thoughts in that video. I'm just I tried to be as cheery and as chippy as I could be, but you can tell that there was about a 3-day from when I did the guitar demo to final thoughts. I look at it, I can see it, and I did mention it in the video. Um, my father passed away a year before that, and Linnell's dad passed away about a year after my mother.
No, it was the same.
Was the same year? It was a couple months.
My dad passed away 4 months before your mom did.
Oh, 4 months before my mom. Yeah, it's been really a rough last 4 years, guys, for us. We've lost a lot of family members. It's just one of those things.
Warhart says perhaps he's giving us perspective.
That's kind of what I think too. It's definitely it definitely makes you look at life and feel life differently. It really does. And now I look at what my father used to say and what he said right before he passed. It kind of puts everything in conclusion on what he said and what he was trying to do for me. Um, I didn't take much of that to heart when I was younger, but the older I got, the more I started to get it, if that makes sense. And I think about that too when I'm talking to little one in here. I'm thinking about, okay, I remember what I thought when my dad said this or that. So I think it's kind of taught me how to approach things a little bit better, if that makes sense. I don't know. I hope I've gotten better. I've tried to make this better too. I think I've become better at communicating and getting my feeling and my initial thoughts across better too. Hopefully I have. Okay, guys, we've been on for 2 hours and 50 minutes. I do try to do a long stream, and I think we've gone over a lot tonight. We actually had a really good stream. At least it felt like it to me. I know it's a good stream if we went 3 hours, and it feels like I've only been here for an hour, even though my throat's sore. It goes by fast. It really does. I want to thank everybody for coming in. Without you guys, it's not possible. This wouldn't be possible. I couldn't go a week or two and not have a bunch of people in here talking guitars and doing it. The community is great. I can't get over how the channel has grown. And remember, tell people about the channel. Tell people to come in. It may not be their cup of tea. Maybe it's not. But at least tell them about the channel. Let's try to get the channel up. We are on the way to 2,200 subscribers. So if you're in here just chatting and you're not a subscriber, well, you're chatting. You're not a subscriber. You don't have to be a subscriber to chat. I want you to come in, engage, have fun, get your thought and your opinion across. And hopefully after time, you're going to go down there, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell button. And even if you don't subscribe, go down and hit the thumbs up button. It really does help YouTube push the video out for other people to see it and introduce this channel to them. That's the big thing. We're all musicians here, and we're all trying to be honest, and we want to share our opinions so we all grow as musicians. Well, this is going to be our 5-minute closing chat. I think I'm still the only channel that does it. It gives you 5 minutes to finish your thoughts, say goodbye to everybody, and say final thoughts. Again, I want to thank everyone that gave a super chat. Without you, it's not possible. And if you're watching this video in the future, yes, I'm going to turn commercials on. But if you catch our stream when it's live, there's no commercials. So anyway, guys, here's 5 minutes to close your thoughts. And again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And Linnell says the same thing. Thanks, guys, for coming in and hanging out with us. You guys are family. We're going to be treated like family. You guys are family. Thanks so much.